This is a public service announcement. Attention adults. Midlife crises are contagious. Symptoms include briefcase clinging, bedtime story avoidance, and a sudden urge for sports cars. If you or someone you have loved traded pixie dust for PowerPoint, there's hope. Introducing Amblin Through Cinema, a podcast that prescribes one dose of flying, one sad sword fight, and unlimited colorful food fights. Side effects may include spontaneous singing, awkward hugs, and a taste for feathered hats. Tune in for quick film therapy, fake ads, and Mr. DNA Style Explains that'll help you find your inner lost boy or at least a decent costume. Amblin Through Cinema. Play responsibly, fly occasionally.
Hello, swashbucklers, and welcome to Amblin Through Cinema, the podcast dedicated to exploring the stories in film craft, defining the creative giants of the silver screen. Today, we're enjoying the nostalgia-fueled ride of a midlife crisis in Steven Spielberg's Hook, released in 1991. I'm your host, Tyler Birch.
And this is Crystal.
All right, so Hook, if you don't know, is a loose sequel to the story that you've probably seen, most likely in the Disney adaptation from the 50s, Peter Pan, where we get to meet a man who's a big mystery here is Peter Pan growing up. And while that's happening, we see a pirate captain who is so crushed by his own legend that he's considering taking out some extreme measures, as well as trying to brainwash some children. As always, we're going to go ahead with our first impressions. Mom, what do you have for us?
So I have no memory of first seeing this movie, even though I was a teenager.
Like you look in your memory banks and there's just one slot that's just empty.
Control F.
Yeah.
Didn't find it.
It says probably saw Hook this time, but there's just nothing there.
No. No surprise. I'm not really a huge fan of Peter Pan to begin with. I didn't quite get it, I guess. I don't know.
It's because of the shadow, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That darn shadow.
Hate it.
So this is definitely not one of my favorite movies. I don't know. Watching it again with you the other day, usually I enjoy it more because you hadn't seen it before, but I don't know. I just didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
What did you think?
So this was definitely my first time seeing it, which is a big surprise because I've talked to, people that are around my age, obviously millennials, and they love this movie. Like a lot of people, they really enjoyed this movie. Like this is one of the movies that they watched a ton growing up.
Interesting.
It's very interesting, especially watching it now. And I think that I wasn't like a crazy fan of it this time. I do think that if I had watched it as a kid like they did, it probably would be a cherished childhood movie. And it's kind of like one of those ones like The Goonies, where, people that are your age, if they watch The Goonies, they love it. But you've said like you're just not that crazy about it.
No.
Like, I think it's that same thing. It's just about timing.
I think so.
I think so. There are definitely things I really liked about it. Like I love the production design of Neverland. I think that was fantastic. When we saw like the map as they pulled out of Neverland and you see the compass in it, like it's just very delightful. Enjoyed a lot of the performances. It was a very interesting experience too watching this. And I told you this when we were watching it and being like, this is just the Santa Claus.
It is. Yeah. And after you said that, I was like, oh, yeah, he's right.
Which is interesting because The Santa Claus is a movie that we both love. And we watch it every Christmas. And it's essentially, and I know Hook came before this, so I'm not saying it ripped off Santa Claus. Most likely Disney ripped off this to make it. But they learned to make it a tight 90, which I think helped a lot.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't this 2 hours?
It's 2 hours, 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
And you really feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely felt it.
It's a bloated film. Getting to a lot of things felt like it took too much time.
Yeah.
Which really doesn't take out your enjoyment of it a little bit. And I know that they didn't mean to, or this is how the final result happened. His daughter, Maggie, she gets pushed to the wayside. I know originally they wanted her to have a bigger role where she became more of the Wendy, but that didn't end up in the final film. So like, Santa Claus, like there's only one kid, there's Charlie. And so it's easier to focus on that one. Because like, if you think about it, if you're going to have Jack, who's Peter Banning's son, be brainwashed by Hook and into thinking of him as a father figure, Maggie should have been with Peter experiencing, especially if she's supposed to be like a Wendy analog.
Right.
She should have been there experiencing the Lost Boys and going through similar experiences. If anything, her interaction with the Lost Boys and her belief in her father should have been what motivated him to become Peter Pan again, versus the story of him seeing Jack enjoying himself with Hook and how he missed out on the game and remembering that the most important thing to him is his family because of Jack. That was touching, of course, but like if you want to give Maggie something to do, then put her in with the Lost Boys, and then she's able to experience that. And I think it would also make the Lost Boys scenes a little bit more palatable for people.
Yeah.
Because it was can get kind of obnoxious at times. So you put her in there, I think it's a little bit better. Put her, I guess, more in like a role of like Gertie from E.T.
Yeah.
and the way she interacted with the kids. I think that would have been more beneficial for the character.
I think she would have enjoyed Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
She never saw Tinkerbell, did she?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Or she never like interacted with them.
Right.
Yeah.
She would have loved that.
And I think that would have been a good way also that you say that to Tinkerbell more into the story and have her being able to, interact with Maggie, and it will be a different dynamic because, obviously like in the movies, and I don't know about if it's like in the books, you could always feel that Tinkerbell got really jealous of Wendy because Tinkerbell was in love with Peter Pan, like she states in this movie. So her getting to interact with Maggie, somebody that she doesn't have to worry about, she's going to take Pan away because that's his daughter, and she can learn and grow and have her own arc by doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really missed out on that. That would have probably made it more enjoyable because Maggie would have believed in him more.
Mm-hmm.
And he may have gotten back to his inner childhood a little quicker.
Yeah, I think so. But
Twinkie. I think Tinkerbell was in a depression while he was gone.
I think Tinkerbell led a life of crime after that. So
Oh, okay. Well, we don't want to talk about that. This is a nice podcast.
No. I mean, I'm just not forgiving her for the affidavit thing.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah.
She sold out Peter Pan. I know it was all because she wanted to see him again, but signing an affidavit
You're
to
right.
Shmi saying that Peter Banning is Peter Pan. She had his credit cards and his driver's
You're right.
license.
Okay. Yeah.
She kidnapped him.
She did.
She
really
broke
did.
bad because Tinkerbell was not, or because Peter Pan was not in Neverland.
Dang. Okay. You're right. All right then.
Other first impressions. I think that, I mean, I think we covered a lot of it. I think that just the number one thing I want to highlight is that production design. I think they did such a fun job with it, even with the pirate town and everything. I wish we could have seen more Neverland locations. Also, Peter Banning is an adulterer, by the way.
Yeah.
I hope you guys realize that.
Yeah.
He made out with 3 mermaids and Tinkerbell. No. This isn't Vegas. What happens in Neverland doesn't stay in Neverland.
You did say that, I remember.
There's a lot of really interesting adult dynamics that are in this movie, and I just don't know why. Because you have Stockholm Syndrome with Jack. You have, I mean, the Hook depression thing, I think, was really interesting.
Yeah.
And it led to that really interesting thing with Shmi. Apparently, I was looking this up, and Dustin Hoffman and Bob Hoskins were having trouble with the characters until they were like, they might be gay.
Oh, okay.
And they were like, and all these things started to fit from the original story.
All right.
And it makes sense. If you watch the animated movie, him and Shmi always have like a special relationship. And what other reason would he put up with Shmi?
Yeah, that's true.
He's always messing everything up. He's more competent in Hook. I will say he's more competent in Hook. And I actually really liked him in Hook.
He totally was going to ghost, right?
He was gonna dip. He had
stolen
everything.
And he was leaving. And he's like, oh no, we're all back to...
This is all for you. Yep. Don't worry about it. Which means that Shmi had learned. He had realized he needs to make the right call for himself. Get out of that toxic relationship.
Yeah, no, he didn't get out, did he? Oh, I guess he did.
I mean,
yeah.
I guess in the way that anybody gets out when their partner is
eaten by a
possibly
crocodile. I don't know.
Killed by being eaten by a stuffed crocodile.
I don't know. What really happened to him?
I don't know, because you could say he magically got away.
Okay, you could say
Or
that.
you could say for some reason somehow he got eaten by this crocodile.
But I mean, it was Neverland, so...
Yeah, anything could happen. I really just thought that it was going to come back to life, or that he had lied about it. That's what I really thought, he had lied about killing the crocodile.
Yeah.
And then the actual crocodile was going to show up.
That gave me, from Happy Gilmore, the crocodile with Stubbs. Was Stubbs his name? The golfer he was...
Chubbs.
Chubbs.
Yeah. So I think that pretty much covers our first impressions of it. I know we keep kind of going all over the place because it's just it's an interesting movie that they created.
Yeah, definitely
I feel like that's like the biggest thing that we've used to describe the past few movies of Spielberg is, this was interesting.
Yeah, this was a choice.
This was his interesting area.
Did he get scared after Color Purple and Empire of the Sun, maybe? Because he dipped his toe into the adult pool. I know he had to make Indiana Jones.
I mean, he might have been. Because if you think about it, it's kind of like I was telling you about that behind the scenes with Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
When Tim Allen had to be a dramatic actor for the scene where he's telling the aliens he's not the real captain.
Yeah.
And he couldn't handle the emotions of doing something like having to actually act and not make a funny afterwards.
Right. Yeah.
might be similar. I mean, you go out there and you try something that's completely different.
Yeah.
It's going to scare you.
Definitely.
So now that we've done talking about our first impressions, let's talk a little bit more about the magic of the film on the screen, starting with our Mr. DNA. Spielberg failed at directing a musical again. The formula for a musical is simple. Singing and dancing move the narrative. Why would Hook fail as a musical? There were too many traumatic moments in the film. The pacing of the story would have suffered. There isn't a real, tangible villain, just Peter's internal struggle with himself. There were elements of joy in the film, but not enough to warrant song and dance numbers. Not a musical, just a candy-coated therapy session. Sings, the story speaks, and bingo, cinema DNA. All right, folks, now that we've done our little primer, let's talk about the main meat of the Mr. DNA Explains, which is going to be the characters, scenes, themes, and symbols. So first up, we're going to talk about Peter Banning, aka the guy we didn't know was Peter Pan, but was totally Peter Pan, so I hope you figured it out way before then, Peter Banning.
Yeah, that was quite the mystery, wasn't it?
It just felt really drawn out for something that was very obvious to me.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't know, maybe in the 1991, it was different.
Okay, we weren't that dumb.
I mean, yeah, true.
1991.
Especially because it was, being marketed as this is a sequel to Peter Pan. So we meet Peter Banning. He's probably 40, married, 2 children, big time lawyer guy.
Addicted to his cell phone.
Addicted to his cell phone. First time we meet him is his daughter is performing a play, Peter Pan.
Yeah,
And he just can't be off his phone.
I know.
Misses his son's big game because he has to do these deals. Has a very weird office culture where they all tell him, don't be afraid of flying, and how many people die in a flight. And
Yeah,
don't they flap his wings? They flap their wings at him.
yeah. Don't let your arms get tired.
Yeah, don't let your arms get tired. Just real odd office atmosphere. That would make me really uncomfortable.
Well, that's probably why he was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He should have took a Dramamine and just, whatever.
I
That's a
gotta say,
long flight.
What good revenge, though, when Jack drew that picture. And it was like, look, it's the plane going down. We all have parachutes, but
And
not
you
you, Dad.
don't.
Because parachutes are for good people who attend their son's baseball games.
But see, he attended the play, so Maggie made him a parachute. So I see how it is, Dad. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
they always say there's not a favorite child, but I think we can tell from this one which one it was.
Okay.
But yeah, played by Robin Williams.
Oh,
a
yeah.
man trying to remember how to be a boy.
I missed his comedy. You know what I mean? From other movies I've seen him in. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
This one just felt, I don't know. I know he was trying to be more dramatic, but I missed it.
That's true. It didn't really feel like a Robin Williams performance.
No, it didn't. And we've mentioned this about Spielberg and Williams, but it just, I don't know. I expected more, I guess, from him.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's interesting because, does Jumanji a few years later. When in Jumanji, you can still tell that he's stuck being a boy, but you still feel how he's got the cynicism of an adult because of his experiences in the Jumanji world when he comes
Oh.
back out of it. In this movie, it's almost like dual personality.
okay.
Because when he's Peter Banning, when he's the lawyer, he's not making jokes. He's not funny.
No.
There's no comedy. He's just about work. He feels uncomfortable when people talk about things like the Peter Pan, Peter Pan story and anything whimsical. And then he becomes Peter Pan. And I swear, it's like he brainwashed himself.
Yeah.
And they even have to remind him, don't forget you have children. Because
Oh.
he all of a sudden became forgot everything that he went through in the past 30 years.
Well, he repressed the memory.
Yeah. But if you unrepress a memory, do you all of a sudden lose all of your other memories?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
And maybe your personality will change, but I don't think it would all of a sudden, it's like a dominant personality took over.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
And so I think that's why, because after he's Peter Pan, I think that's when we should have gotten more of that Robin Williams-like comedy.
Yes.
Because he did the whimsies back in his life and everything. It just felt like he was trying too hard to portray a 40-year-old man who thinks he's a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with that. It felt stiff. Not sure when Mrs. Doubtfire came out, but
I want to say a year or two after.
yeah. So it was funny that you talked about Jumanji. So Mrs. Doubtfire, he actually is a kid trapped in a man's body. Not literally, but he's the kid of the marriage. Sally Field is more the authoritarian, disciplinarian. He's the fun
okay.
guy.
Like roles. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, yeah. I was getting there. So it's like a juxtaposition of this movie.
He becomes that wackier guy. So maybe he's figuring himself out in this movie.
I don't know, but he was awesome in Dead Poet Society, even though it wasn't,
It was drama, yeah.
Yeah.
I really like Bicentennial Man.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like it. I don't know. He has range. He was excellent in Good Will Hunting. It's not that I'm pegging him as just a comedic actor.
Definitely not, yeah.
But in Hook,
So I saw an interview and he talked about how after Popeye failed, he got kind of worried about doing something like comedy. So it seems like he did a lot of more dramatic stuff up until Hook.
okay,
And after Popeye, it sounds like he kind of got a little traumatized by working in a comedy film.
okay,
So I think he might have been trying to push away
okay,
the more comedic side of himself because it worked on TV, but it didn't seem to be working on film.
okay,
And so the 90s, him refining that. Maybe that's why he was just uncomfortable with the role.
okay, yeah. Well, you've seen him as the genie in
Yeah.
Aladdin, so you know how comedic he can be.
But yeah, as a central character, I don't know. I didn't really, wasn't really rooting for him
No,
throughout the movie. I think that also sucks. Like I didn't invest into him. I didn't invest into him as a dad. I didn't invest into him as Peter Pan, which I think is a shame. And I think that's probably why that character doesn't stand out as much. Because honestly, I think the standout character of this movie was Captain Hook.
well, that fits. It was his movie,
Yeah,
kind of. It was called Hook, but it was about Peter Pan,
yeah,
so that was misleading. I mean, Captain Hook, he was great. He
yeah,
was amazing. He really seemed like Captain Hook from what I remembered from the animated version.
yeah. I mean, honestly, you wouldn't know it was Dustin Hoffman.
No.
Which I think just speaks to it. And this would make it a not kids movie, but a true sequel to Peter Pan, where we were doing this thing where Peter went to the real world and grew up and everything, would be a movie following Captain Hook's struggle to find himself when his arch nemesis leaves.
Yeah.
And we get like bits of that in this movie. You don't need Peter Pan for this movie.
No.
And like Hook would be wondering, who am I without Peter Pan?
Yeah.
You know, what do you do when your life's great purpose is all of a sudden taken away from you? You could easily just make this movie into Hook depressed, trying to figure out who he is. Lost Boys depressed, without direction. They just lost their leader.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what to do.
Mm-mm.
And then Hook becomes a surrogate father to them
Yeah.
and finds life's purpose. They find a father figure that they can look up to that's not going to leave them this time.
There you go.
Like, easily you could do that.
Yeah. Like you said, Spielberg was dropped into it, so usually he chooses. I could see that. Wasn't he dropped into 1941 as well, if I remember correctly?
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
It's been a
So
while.
it's got to be hard to be like, okay, so this guy's out and you're in, go. Dustin Hoffman was amazing. I totally bought him
Yeah.
as Captain Hook. I was rooting for him, and he's the villain, or kind of the villain. I don't know. He's not like a villain to me.
hmm
Which is weird because you usually have the hero and the villain, but I just did not feel that at all for either one of them,
That's just a carryover from Peter Pan, the story.
I guess.
Because if you watch Peter Pan the movie, you never
Yeah.
really feel like Captain Hook is really the villain. Like he's played as the villain. He maybe does like a villainous thing or two, but there's
Yeah.
never a feeling like, oh, this is it. Like
Peter Pan's in
the
danger.
big hero is going to confront the big villain. You never
Yeah.
get that vibe.
So Granny Wendy. I was really sad when Maggie Smith passed away. So seeing her again was a delight.
It's always so good to see her.
I know.
Even in this where she doesn't have that much of a role.
She still kills it.
Yeah.
I know they aged her up. It looked horrible. It didn't even look like her when she was older.
It's so interesting because it's like there was no purpose to that.
No.
It reminds me of in Prometheus, they give Guy Pearce like this horrendous old man makeup, like truly awful, like Grandpa from Texas Chainsaw Massacre makeup to be old Peter Wayland. And then they never did a here's what he looked like when he was younger.
Yeah.
And they did that a little bit at the beginning of Alien Covenant, but like there was no reason that you
Yeah.
needed to have him be like to look that decrepit.
We have to believe she's 92,
Like
right?
hire somebody old if we're gonna do this.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. It must have been amazing when she was younger and she got to go on all those adventures with Peter, and she looks at him now and she's just like, who are you?
she had a loss of innocence to her, and Peter forgot her and distanced himself from her, having to make the tough decision. I can't go out with you anymore. I have children and grandchildren.
Yeah.
I do have to say, I think one of my favorite scenes of the movie was when they were doing the dedication
Yes.
and everybody gave her a standing ovation and talked about her
Yes.
work with the orphan boys and just showing the culmination of what started when she started taking care of the lost boys while she was in Neverland.
Yeah. That was good. That might be the only emotional attachment to that movie was her
Yeah.
for me. But yeah, Maggie Smith. That was a very good casting choice.
It's always interesting to remember that, people did things before Harry Potter.
There is life before Harry Potter.
I mean, not for me, but for other people, I'm sure there was.
Has this podcast taught you nothing? This is before Harry Potter.
You can't fool me. Always came out after Incredibles, all right?
All right, talk about Smee. I know he's your favorite.
He's also probably my favorite part of the animated movie, too.
Yeah.
He's just so fun with the bumbling, but this is Bob Hoskins, who's from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Mario from the Super Mario Brothers movie. Gotta remember that.
Yes.
He's more competent. which I
Yeah.
appreciate. Like, there's some real growth there. You could tell even until he, tries to escape. Like
Of course.
you could tell like he's had a hard time having to take care of Hook and take care of all the pirates. He might have been the only one keeping this whole thing still together all
Yeah.
this time.
Yeah, for sure.
He's got a lot of funny lines, and I guess there's not like a whole lot that stands out about what he did with the character, but he was just enjoyable to have around.
He was. It was like comic relief, which is mind-blowing if you think about it.
Yeah, he did bring a little bit of that comedy that we were looking for, and that's probably what made him stand out to me in my mind, because you're watching this movie and there's not a whole lot of comedy to it, and sometimes it can get kind of dark, like I said with Captain Hook and his depression, that he definitely had that scene where he's trying to convince me to convince him not to
Oh, yeah,
shoot
that was
himself, which was really out of left field.
it was uncomfortable.
And like you just see like what Shmi had to go through to take care of this crew, and so he did a really good job with the small role where it stood out to me, and with the comedy on it. So I don't think that there's any too much else to say about it, but it's just enjoyable.
Yeah, it was. All right, so then we had the kids. So, yeah, Jack, I don't know. He was what? What do you think? He was 10? He wasn't quite a
Yeah,
teenager.
I'd say yeah, like 9 or 10.
Yeah, okay.
Transitioning from elementary to middle school is what
Yeah.
I felt like.
I know he was upset with his dad. I get it. This reminds me of Jingle All the Way. I forgot his name. The kid is upset with his dad because he keeps missing everything.
Yeah, very obvious kid archetype we
Yeah.
see all the time, where
Yeah.
son hates dad because he's not around.
Yeah. But he's kind of a jerk about it. I mean,
I'll say he's better. He's better with it than we normally see.
yeah.
And it might just be because like people forgot the nuance of playing this role. But like, yeah, he was a jerk. I never felt he was being disproportionate to the neglect that he was facing,
Okay.
as opposed to like Carl from The Walking Dead
Oh, yeah.
and his attitude.
Oh, yeah.
That's like my barometer.
Okay.
Also, he's got a devil on his shoulder trying to convince him that he should
Oh, well,
become
yeah.
a pirate.
Yeah. I just meant before
Yeah.
the whole.
Been an angry kid before. Drawing stuff like that is not surprising.
It was so good, though. It was funny that Maggie turned him in. Look.
Look what he drew.
Yeah. And the fact that he probably knew that his dad was scared of flying was just icing on the cake.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I
like-
told you, I've been an angry kid. This makes sense to
Okay,
me. Like,
all
this
right.
wasn't anything surprising.
Okay. Maggie was adorable.
Yeah, like I think we actually covered her pretty much when we were talking about her during first impressions. She doesn't have a whole lot going on. She's the only one that remembered her mom and dad the whole time. That's the thing also with like Jack, like we said, it's like Stockholm Syndrome. Hook is trying to convince him that his dad sucks.
Wasn't too hard.
Doesn't take a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say like Hook doing the baseball game where Jack got to play. I really liked that moment for them. I thought
I
that
did
was pretty
too.
good, and I liked that opened Peter's eyes to what he missed out on.
Yeah.
When he sees that when Jack is celebrating, he's not celebrating with him, and he realizes what he has done, which I think was really cool. Like I know we're kind of being negative on this one. I'm sorry, I know it's a lot, but there are good things in here. There are things that in this movie that I really do enjoy. And one of those, his eyes opening. Like he's there to play a game.
Mhm.
He's there to be a kid. He's reminded of what his relationship with his son has become, and that is a catalyst for him to go along this journey where he remembers being Peter Pan, remembers that his family is what makes him fly. So
The happy
I do
thought.
think that was great. Yeah,
Yeah.
the happy thought. And also, let me tell you, Jack's outfit when he became a pirate,
Oh, yeah.
immaculate.
Yes.
That was some superb knitting. Like the thread on that, like I was very impressed. I would have he didn't even need to convince me to
Nope.
hate my dad. I
Nope.
would just been like, dude, do I get that dope suit?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in. Let's do this. Like,
Here, you can pierce my ear. There
yeah.
you go. Come
That
on.
was really interesting that he says that a pirate, like the
Yeah.
sign of a pirate is their first ear piercing.
Yeah.
I thought that was very fascinating.
It was. He showed so much. I don't know. Dustin, I like your idea about Dustin Hoffman, or not Dustin Hoffman, Captain Hook going to Neverland and adopting the Lost Boys.
Yeah, it makes sense for the Hook that we saw.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing too that makes this movie kind of hard is it's just two different movies in here.
Yeah.
You have, this man trying to remember what it means to be a boy and
Mhm.
remember, honestly, to discover happiness again.
Yeah.
And then you have Captain Hook, who's going through a similar journey, but because it's so similar yet so different,
Mhm.
it conflicts with
Yeah.
the Peter Banning journey.
It's like a tug of war, and Jack's in the middle.
Guess we'll talk about Toodles a little bit.
Yeah.
Toodles is the last remaining boy in Wendy's house, and he's lost his marbles.
Literally.
He literally lost his marbles. And honestly, I think that was really sweet. Thud gave Peter the marbles back, and he gives them to Toodles, and he remembers everything.
He does. That's amazing.
It was such a simple arc of just him remembering, and then he gets to fly off. And both Mom and I are watching this movie, and we're watching him just like cartwheel through the sky. Like, are you going the right way, man? almost hitting Big Ben. Like,
Turn, man, turn. It's the second star.
and finally, at the end, he finally goes towards that second star. Let's talk about that. Second star to the right and straight on till morning.
Yeah.
I thought that was a Star Trek quote, but apparently it's not. It's a Peter Pan quote.
Yeah.
That's from The Undiscovered Country, which actually came out in 91.
Ah,
So
yes.
same year as this.
Yes.
I just thought that was a Star Trek quote, but nope, that's Peter Pan.
Okay.
Yeah, something just really small and just kind of demonstrates the magic of Neverland.
Yeah, it really was. I kind of related to him because I've seen grandparents that it seemed like he had dementia.
Yeah, that's definitely how they were playing it.
Yeah, and that kind of hurt my heart a little bit. I'm glad that the marbles helped him. I wish it were that simple.
Yeah, I wish they had done more with his relationship with Wendy. Because in the beginning, they talk about how he needs to be moved to a facility and Wendy doesn't want to.
No.
I really would have liked to see more of an arc for her having to let go of that part of her life. Because the way I view it is Wendy has been spending all her life saving these boys. And this is the last boy to be saved. And so she needs to learn to let go, but she doesn't want to because it's been such a big part of her life. I wish there had been a little bit more of her interaction with Toodles and her learning to let go before he flew away and went back to Neverland.
Yeah. Well, we assume he went back to Neverland. I don't know.
I mean, maybe not, yeah.
He could have ended up at Hogwarts. Who knows?
Yeah. So I wish that her arc had fit in a little bit more to what they were talking about earlier in the movie.
Yeah, I would have liked some light on that.
Yeah.
To add to the drama.
The drama. And then lastly, I think we talk about Rufio, which Rufio is the most 90s kid you could see in a fantasy world. He's got a skateboard, people. That's 90s. If he had done a cool kickflip and drank a Mountain Dew, he would have been as 90s you could get.
And his hair.
He had the hair, the red and black hair. I can't even fathom the hair, honestly.
That was more 80s. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, we're at the tail end. So that is something that I thought was really interesting. These Lost Boys all were from different eras.
Yeah.
They all had
that.
different outfits.
Yeah.
Including one that had a Boy Scout outfit.
The twins. There was twins.
There was twins that had Boy Scout outfits.
Yeah.
So I thought that might have been an homage to Spielberg's past as a Boy Scout.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same as like The Last Crusade. So with Rufio, he's the leader of the Lost Boys. He was given the sword by Peter Pan when he left. As like his successor, Rufio, he just wanted a father. He even says at the end when he dies, which is outrageous. He's the only person that dies. I mean, I guess Hook did, but like with Hook,
you don't know.
You don't really know if he did or if he just disappeared. But Rufio very definitively gets stabbed and dies.
Why is he dying?
And he's like, I wish I had a dad like you, which felt totally unearned. They didn't build up Rufio and Peter's old relationship, like older Peter's relationship with Rufio at all.
No.
If anything, they did more with Thud, like you talked about.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I had a dad like you as he dies. Felt very weird and out of place. And then it being what reminds Jack, yeah, that is my dad, and I do love him.
Oh, yeah.
Very odd. So I think there's more they could have done with Rufio. I know people's favorite thing to do, at least a friend of mine that I had, he would always do the Rufio. Like,
yeah.
Apparently that was a big thing to do, was just to chant that. I think that he's a character that was underdeveloped in this movie. So I wish that they had done a little bit more of Peter being his surrogate father, or maybe his struggles to control the Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Well, he was thrust into this leadership position and what that looked like for him.
Maybe because he was the oldest?
Probably, yeah. He might have been the first one that he saved. There's lots of things they could have done in this movie, which is crazy to say in such a bloated movie, but there's lots of things they could have done to establish more of what this relationship was with Rufio. And maybe it's more of like a we should have read the book kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe they covered it in the book. Who knows?
Who knows?
So a little bit underdeveloped. Shouldn't have died. Outrageous.
What was the point?
I don't know. He also got bullied by Peter when they were insulting each other.
Yeah.
Like, it was, yeah. So I know people love Rufio, but I feel like there could have been more there. And then the surprising emotional crux of this movie, Thud.
Yes.
Who gives him Toodles his marbles back.
Yes.
Reminds him about what happiness is and becomes the leader of the Lost Boys after Rufio was tragically cut down.
There's a movie right there.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how he's going to lead them, but okay.
I think there were just too many children in this movie.
Yeah.
I think so. You either cut out Rufio and Lost Boys, or you cut out Jack and Maggie, or you cut out one of each. Like, there was just,
pick a lane,
just overstuffed,
okay? Pick a lane.
It should have been Rufio and it should have been Jack, and then they could have had parallel stories to each other.
Yeah.
A boy who has a father but feels like he's not there, and a boy who wishes they had a father, and he finds that father figure.
Yep.
They could have been good foils with each other.
They could have.
Okay, well, I think that's pretty much it for characters. We went through all the major ones. So we'll talk about some scenes. So I know you mentioned that you want to talk a little bit about the opening scene.
So I really liked, kind of like what we do for the podcast. Would you call it a primer?
Yeah, primer.
Yeah, a primer. The primer in this movie was Maggie in the play of Peter Pan. And so it was really nice to see a reminder of the story, just in case maybe you haven't read it or maybe you haven't seen the movie. I mean, granted, it was just a very small piece of it, but it brought innocence and magic into the movie, and it was kind of misleading if you think about it, because you think, oh, this is going to be a magical movie, this is going to be fun, it's going to be, and it's just,
The cell phone rings.
yeah, the cell phone. Well, maybe they did that on purpose. Real life
Yeah, real life
crashing in.
disrupting the fantasy. I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah. What'd you think of the play?
I thought it was cool. It was a fun way to introduce the characters and everything. Introduce that weird thing where Peter thought a kiss was a thimble to kind of highlight that scene, especially because I don't think that's something that was in the animated movie. I'm pretty sure.
I think it was,
I don't.
because I don't remember reading the book, so I remember the thimble.
Okay, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
This doesn't remind me of anything, but yeah, and also just to kind of show that this movie's going to be kind of meta a little bit
Yeah.
with its approach. So yeah, I think it's a good way to understand what you're getting into. Yeah, the fantasy and then real life calling on the phones,
Yeah.
and he answers that phone. So I think it was a really good way to start it. I really did enjoy it. Yeah.
The imaginary dinner.
Yeah, I thought that one was really interesting. The Lost Boys are having dinner with Peter Banning, and he still doesn't believe, so he just sees them eating nothing. And then he gets into that weird contest with Rufio where they insult each other a lot. It's supposed to be like playground antics where we are insulting each other and having fun with it kind of thing, if that's what they were going for. But once he does that, and he starts to act more like a kid, and he starts to believe again, all of a sudden there's food that's there.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was cool. I like the idea of him being like, what are they doing? And then it turning out they actually are eating something. He just doesn't believe, so he can't see it. Except for that cheese.
Yeah.
We noticed that there was this cheese with the Lost Boys' faces on it and their names.
Yeah, that was.
And it was mainly Thuds, but there was another one that said Adam, but you don't believe me that there was another one
I
that said
didn't see it.
Adam.
Seeing is believing, Tyler. All I saw was Thud.
They had to do the food fight, which is a staple of any movie that came out in that era, I think.
Of course.
Any kind of school time antics. I like this visual representation of him believing.
Yeah.
And
the colors.
Yeah, and the colors,
Oh, my
very
goodness.
vibrant colors.
Yes.
Which is great because this movie does have a lot of vibrancy to it. So getting to see that meal and seeing them eat the food was really good.
So you had Jack's big game here. Did you mean the one in the real world or the one in Neverland?
I mean, the one in Neverland. The real world
Neverland.
one wasn't really anything.
Yeah, I know.
So Jack unburdens himself to Hook about this trauma he recently suffered through. So Hook throws he throws a baseball game for him.
Yep.
And so he gets to play and he hits that home run ball, and then where'd the ball go? The ball went to the Lost Boys, right?
Maybe?
Did it hit Peter on the head?
Yeah, I think it did.
I think it flew off and hit Peter in the head when he's back at the Lost Boys hideout. I don't know. I just really like it. I also thought it was really funny that they already had jerseys that said Pirates on them.
I know.
And that they were playing this real world game into this, this fantasy world, seeing Hook with a umpire. Remember, he like unscrews the hook.
Yes, and he's got the...
And he puts the baseball glove on instead. Oh, and the run home Jack thing.
Oh, yes.
Remember,
yes.
Maggie kept telling him, run home Jack. And then the pirates mixed it up. And so they said, run home Jack. And Jack almost remembers.
Yep. And then...
that he's not supposed to be here.
And Hook's like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
And Hook's like, well, we'll flip him around. And this is home run Jack. And he hits the home run.
Yeah.
So I think there was a lot of really good stuff in that scene. There's bits of this movie that I think are genius.
Absolutely.
And that game is one of them.
It was interesting that they were able to learn the game that quickly.
Yeah.
That Jack taught them. Because they wouldn't have any...
This 9-year-old boy, they wouldn't have any frame of reference.
No. What are we supposed to do?
You definitely, you would have seen them making some mistakes there, but no. Remember the guy stole second and he got shot?
Yes. You're not supposed to do that.
There are real life consequences for violating the rules of baseball.
All right, so Rufio was not the first victim. It was
I guess he wasn't. No, because there was that other pirate that he shot on the ship.
Oh, yes.
Because he shot through something. What was it?
Oh.
It was like a piece of paper or something. But yeah, so Hook shoots through something. And then the pirate that was like right behind it gets shot instead and dies.
Was it the affidavit?
Yes, it was the affidavit. He shot the affidavit, and obviously being paper, the bullet goes through and kills one of his men.
Yeah.
I think the only other scene that really stands out to me was when Peter finds that tree
Yeah.
And he presses it and opens and finds Wendy's home.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts to remember Neverland, and he remembers everything. Tinkerbell's there to help him jog his memory. And then he gets his happy thought. I really like that
Yeah.
sequence.
It was good.
I really,
It had all their names on it.
yeah, they
Yeah.
carved their names into it. It had a face kind of like the Great Deku Tree from Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, yeah.
I really liked him discovering the place where Wendy used to be and finally regaining his memories and becoming Peter Pan. Even if it leads into a weird magical girl sequence where he's flying around and his outfit changes into the Peter Pan outfit.
It was subtle, but it was, we're like, when did it turn green or brown or whatever it was?
Yeah, they were like, well, he's wearing leggings. How did he just do that in the air?
Oh, okay. So Hook had the best line. Peter, how did you get into those smashing tights? So yeah, there was a little question there, but
it was funny.
It was funny.
Like I said, it was like a magical girl sequence where he's just. There was like a flashlight or like a soup, if you want to make it a guy thing.
Yeah.
Superman.
There you go.
Superman telephone booth situation, but
took off his glasses. He was wearing glasses, wasn't he?
He was, yes, because he looked like Spielberg.
You're right, he did. You're like, that looks like Spielberg.
It was crazy, and I looked it up. There was never an intent to make him look like Spielberg, but the glasses he was wearing and just Robin Williams' overall look in this movie.
Yes.
I felt like I kept looking at Spielberg.
Goodness, yeah.
And then he turned to Peter Pan. He looked like Poison Ivy, minus the glitter and the red fantastic makeup. He did have makeup on because he kept talking about the eyeshadow he was wearing or the eyeliner.
Oh, the eyeliner was awful.
Oh, I will say when Hook is kidnapping the children, they did a really good job with that without showing him.
Yes.
Of showing like the danger and the storm and everything. And even the aftermath where you see the Hook.
Yes.
Like you just imagine him like, it reminded me of like Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
Holding his glove to a wall. Like he just had his hook and it's like, and how genuinely terrifying that would probably have been for the children.
Yeah.
So the hook on the latch
Yes.
for the room,
the French doors.
magical room that they had.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they say you always lock the door, you'll get taken. And so having the hook there was very symbolic. So now we'll move on to the themes, I think. One of the biggest themes, I think, is lost childhood.
Yeah. Which pretty much
we've talked a lot about that one. Him repressing the memories of his childhood is the biggest, I think, the biggest form of lost childhood you could have is just not remembering anything from it and rediscovering it. You watch him Big and Elf, kind of with the arc that all the adults around them get, where they remember what it meant to be a child. I really thought he was going to be like the head of a toy company or something in this movie. And I know it's just because it was Santa Claus, but when he just turned out to be a regular lawyer, I was kind of disappointed.
No, he should have been like an airline tycoon or something.
No, like a storybook publisher.
Yeah.
Then maybe his weird coworkers would have made more sense.
Maybe. That was weird. I forgot about that. So a theme that I noticed was as a parent, you try to be perfect because you know that every decision you make affects your child. So he didn't try to be perfect. I think he just quit trying. I'm not sure work just got in the way or he just, I'm not good at this, so I'm just going to quit trying. I don't know. Or he tried more with Maggie and not Jack. Something was amiss there.
I think this is an influence from his experience with the Lost Boys.
Okay.
Because he was the provider for the Lost Boys.
True.
So to him, taking care of somebody is providing for them. And then when he grew up, in his mind, that became, I have to provide by doing this work so that way they can live happily.
Okay. Yeah.
It became a more like realistic depiction of, I became a workaholic because I just want to make sure that my family doesn't want for anything. But it turns out that my family, the only thing that they want is for me to be there.
Yeah. Time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, he's not used to sticking around. He's never stuck around. Like he would come and visit Wendy for a day at a time.
Yeah.
They'd go on their adventures and then he could just go home with a clear conscience.
That's true.
Yeah. So he's used to not being there. He's used to being absent.
Okay. Yeah. So then, the repressed memories, of course.
Yeah. Big theme of this one. Even on Jack, you see how his memory starts to get repressed when he's hanging out with Hook.
Is that a Neverland thing?
I think so. What I think is that if you fully believe in Neverland, you forget all the negative memories in your life. And that's why you never leave.
Okay.
That's why you never grow up. Because to grow up is to understand things like pain, fear, and hate.
Yeah, and I think the quote was, I didn't want to grow up because that meant I would have to die or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, even like with Hook, he said that death is the next great big adventure.
Yeah.
And he is the adult of Neverland. It's because you see all the adults in Neverland and they're all people that are, filled with hatred and anger and all these negative things. They don't really have any positives.
So then the reality versus fantasy, I think we've pretty much covered.
Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite parts were when they brought the reality into it, because I always enjoy when somebody gets into a fantastical situation, they try to use real life logic. I'm pretty sure he threatens to sue Hook.
Yeah, I'm gonna sue you.
Yeah, which led you and me on this whole thing about litigious actions taken in Neverland.
Yes.
But I think the final theme I just wanted to mention is just nostalgia. Going back to a simpler time, if they remade this movie today, the nostalgia would be the number one theme.
That's true.
Because that's where we're headed as a society. We're all just so focused on the past to escape the present, myself included. So I just know that if they remade this film today, it would just be a big nostalgia machine, and there'd probably be more of Hook in the real world trying to figure out what an espresso is. It's still a theme of this movie, especially with Tinkerbell. She wants to go back. I think she's the biggest one that's fallen into nostalgia, and that's why she did things like kidnap Peter, sign the affidavit, try to get him to come back to Neverland because she can't let go of the past.
She got big.
That was odd.
It was odd.
I don't know if she was saving up all of her magic for 30 years, but
It
yeah,
was weird.
she grew big to kiss Peter
Yeah,
in the another adulterous moment.
Yes.
So the shadow. You know how we talk about the shadow?
Yeah, the shadow.
You notice that when he starts to believe again, it's the only time he sees a shadow move?
Yes.
Because he's a shadow
He's the
until
shadow,
he
yes.
remembers.
Very nice.
Yeah.
You hated that part.
Yeah, because I hate the shadow.
From Kingdom Hearts, right?
From the movie as well. I was like, look, bro, why are you just running around away from Peter? I don't like this. You had to make Wendy use a needle and thread and tie you back together. This is outrageous.
That was weird. Is that why he cut out of himself out of the sail, you think?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was weird.
It was a weird thing to do. Weird thing to take time for. It's kind of like in Dark Knight Rises when he has Jim Gordon throw the flare.
Yes.
And then you see the bat symbol on the bridge, and it's like you took the time to to get this all set up. Isn't the world? Is it like Gotham about to be nuked? You still?
Who cares? I'm doing this.
Or the robot chicken for Daredevil, where he's like the homeless guy's there in the subway station, and he's like, "Look, you need to move. I'm putting down my D's."
Or in the Crow, when they remember he did the Crow out of the flames.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to have your insignia, obviously.
You have to have presentation.
Yes. Or it just
doesn't work. So it makes you super, according to Megamind. All right, so let's move on to symbols. So first off, we're going to talk about the cell phone. Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
It's what's keeping him from his family. It's a workaholic. His wife throws the phone out the window.
Loved it.
And they got buried, and they were still calling, and
it still worked.
It still worked. And his guy was still calling him.
No.
Even though it had been at least 3 days.
Yeah, maybe.
Because that's at least how long they were in Neverland. Cell phone is just it's an attachment to work. Attachment that keeps him away from his family.
Yeah, attachment to the real world.
So like even like in today's world, everybody talks about how cell phones and social media and everything is detachment. So that becomes even more relevant, I think, today than it did in 1991.
Oh yeah, you got your iPhone? Yeah.
Yeah.
I could totally see that.
Yeah.
So what about the clock?
Yes. So clocks, the biggest symbol in this movie, stop clock, never grow up. Pretty self-explanatory there.
Yeah.
They go to an actual museum of clocks that Hook had destroyed.
Yeah.
Because of his trauma from the crocodile.
Yeah.
He turned the crocodile into a clock tower.
I know.
Which was awesome. That was like the greatest way to get revenge. I was so impressed with him for that.
Oh, he stuffed him, right? And that's why. Yeah.
The one gift that we see Peter give to his son is a pocket watch.
Yeah.
So he's never late.
Yep.
And then he destroys that pocket watch, his last attachment to his father.
Yeah, that was sad.
The way that Hook reacted whenever he heard noises that sounded like clocks.
Yes.
Like it just freaked him out. Obviously, the clock tower is what eventually done in Hook when the crocodile lands on him.
Yeah.
So clocks are just a big thing. And obviously, like I said, just stop time, never growing up. So
no time for his family.
No time for his family. Yeah. He's got 3 days until he has to be Peter Pan to fight this war against Hook.
What's up with that?
So he's racing a clock.
Yeah, they did. All they had to do was throw him into that tree and then it would have been okay.
Yeah. Just locked him in there until he came out.
But no, they had to do boot camp.
They had to do boot camp. They had to fling him from a slingshot.
Oh my God, that was funny. They were having a blast.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, no.
Please stop. Another symbol is obviously the hook, which we've talked a lot about. The earring being a hook.
Yeah.
The mark of a pirate. The first time that we saw Hook, they were sharpening his hook, and then Shmi holds it on a red pillow to walk it up while everybody chants Hook. That's very prevalent. The latch on the window, because a big theme that they talk about throughout this movie is the window and safety. Peter, it is a sign of fear because you can fall out of the window. For Neverland, it is a sign of welcoming. You're allowed to come in, and that's how he was able to enter to meet Wendy in the first place.
I remember when he lost himself when Jack was near the window.
Oh, yeah.
You remember?
Yeah. And then when he came back, he was like, hey, can you let me in through the window? And they opened the window to welcome him in, showing, that Peter is welcome in this household again. And him being like, what did I say about the windows? And
They're like,
Jack's like, oh, was Neverland all a dream? Is he going to be the same? And then he's like, always dance around them or what? So windows is a big symbol, I think, in this movie. Pretend food, symbol of imagination. I think that was pretty self-explanatory.
Is your adulthood too difficult? Unleash your inner pirate at Captain Hook's Rage Room, where rage breeds smiles. Swing a foam saber at life-size Neverland residents. Hurl, safely breakable, briefcases, and roar off steam under the watchful eye of an overdramatic crocodile. Book a private mutiny for singles, couples, or Lost Boys reunions. Helmets, guidance, and sensible villainy provided. Hook's finest policy: revenge is best served responsibly.
We're going to go from the silver screen to behind the scenes with The Shark is Not Working. So first up, we're going to talk about casting and cameos. You have some what ifs that could happen for this movie.
Yeah. Originally, this wasn't Steven Spielberg's movie. So Spielberg was developing this movie in the 80s, but somehow Nick Castle ended up with it. Some of the ideas that were thrown around was David Bowie for Captain Hook.
That would make sense in a post-Labyrinth world.
Yes, so Michael Jackson for Peter Banning because of his love for Neverland. But Michael wanted to play the kid, not the grown-up. So he was pretty upset, actually.
Yeah. Like we said, Michael Jackson's a big fan of Peter Pan. He even named his estate Neverland. I know I think he had worked on this in the mid-'80s with Spielberg.
Yeah.
When they were still talking about it. And then Spielberg dropped out because he was raising his children and he got busy with other projects.
Yeah.
And then when he got brought back on and they had come up with this concept of a sequel to Peter Pan where Peter is a middle-aged lawyer, he's like, meh, that's not what I'm looking for here.
I think I read somewhere that he wanted to play Peter Pan because of he was a childhood star. So as a way of reclaiming his childhood, I think that's fair. I mean, I could see why you'd want to do that. Like you said, his ranch was called Neverland Ranch. All right, so you were telling me about Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, so Dustin Hoffman actually has a second role in this movie other than Captain Hook. He's the pilot of a plane that the Bannings take to London. His line is, "This is your captain speaking."
I love it.
Yeah, fun little bit of foreshadowing.
Yes. I like when they do that.
What really interested me about this is that I'm sorry, let's talk about Jumanji again. In Jumanji, the guy that plays Robin Williams' father also plays the safari hunter that hunts him through Jumanji.
Really?
And that's a dual role.
Wow.
So it's always really fun to see that in other places. And also the fact that Peter is so terrified and it's Dustin Hoffman that's supposed to be flying the plane.
I know.
Like Hook is flying the plane. I like that a lot too.
Me too.
Because he's like there in his moment of terror. But apparently Dustin Hoffman was a perfectionist with his work, which left a conflict with Dante Basco, who played Rufio. Obviously they had a conflict on the screen, but Dante Basco really wanted to be taken more seriously as an actor, and Dustin Hoffman wasn't giving him that. But then Dante started talking to him more about his older films, like his more dramatic films, and he started to realize, like, this kid's taking acting seriously, I should help him out, and he gave him tips. And Dante Basco said that was actually a really rewarding experience.
That's nice. I always found that the older actors always try to, well, not always, but most of the time will try to mentor the younger actors.
Yeah.
Because this can't be an easy job, just coming in and working with Dustin Hoffman, who won an Oscar for Rain Man,
Speaking of Dante, so him and Rob Williams, they bonded over poetry. They talked about Dead Poets Society. Dante was chosen as Rufio because he was the only actor who scared Spielberg in the audition.
I wonder what he did. I would love to be a fly on the wall.
I just growled at him, who knows? And if you don't know who Dante Basco is, if you're somebody that's my age, you love him a lot because he was the voice actor for Prince Zuko in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
So that's his big claim to fame. We love him for that and what he's able to bring into it, which is really interesting because he's kind of got a little bit of Rufio in him. He wishes that he had a father. Okay. He's very angry. He doesn't have an outlet for it. I wonder if he was able to draw on his experiences of playing Rufio when he did the voice acting for that.
So still speaking of Dustin Hoffman, Robin Williams was not going to accept the role because he was intimidated by this Oscar winner. Bob Hoskins talked him into it. So that's good that he was able to do that. I imagine if I was an actor working with an Oscar-winning actor, I would feel the same way.
I'd be taking myself too seriously.
Uh-huh.
And this isn't like a role that's overly serious half the time, especially in scenes with Hook. I feel like I would just be overanalyzing everything I'm doing, and
Mhm.
it would mess with me a bit.
And I hope he didn't know that he was a perfectionist at that time, but if I had heard that as well, that would have been but I think that was mostly about himself. He wanted to do it different ways and just, I guess, find
Yeah.
the right combination maybe. Our friend Tinkerbell,
Yes.
Julia Roberts, who I knew from Mystic Pizza and Steel Magnolias, and of course, Pretty Woman came out earlier that year. She was getting pretty famous. So again, we talk about all these things, how the public treats our celebrities and things like that. So apparently, she was calling in sick a lot because she couldn't handle the fame and being a star, and also I guess there was personal problems at home, but I didn't dive into that.
Yeah, her wedding with her engagement with Kiefer Sutherland
Ah, is that?
was called off during that time.
Well, there you go.
And then it turned out she was dating Jason Patrick. So she was having her own little Lost Boys issues while this was going on. But apparently Spielberg called her and told her if she didn't show up that she would be fired. Which sounds like the most like hardcore thing I've heard Spielberg say
I
to somebody.
know.
Like,
He's usually a softie when it comes to his actors,
yeah.
but
I
hey,
mean, Harrison was gone forever in Temple of Doom with his papayas. And
the papayas, and he gave him grace,
Yeah.
but okay. We don't know how many days she missed, so
Yeah, and this movie went way over
Yeah.
over time. It went way over budget. It probably was just him just saying, "Okay, look, enough is enough." Like,
yeah,
So
we know you're struggling,
yeah,
and
but
we have a
need
job to do.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you were excited about the cameos.
yeah. So the cameos are pretty fun in this one. George Lucas and Carrie Fisher actually cameo as the kissing couple on the streets of London, who float into the air when Tinkerbell flies by after kidnapping Peter.
Okay, that kind of bothers me, but okay.
What?
I don't know.
The kidnapping part?
No, the kissing.
You can't even see them. They're not kissing.
Still, you said the kissing couple.
Their faces are. That's how they're credited.
She should get some credit, and we'll talk about that
Oh,
later.
yeah,
but
she definitely should. Gwyneth Paltrow also shows up in this movie as young Wendy when they do a little flashback sequence.
yeah, that was funny.
Hoffman's kids also were in a lot of this movie, too.
Yeah.
And he made this movie for his kids, apparently. That's why he took the role.
Okay.
But so, like, Peter in the flashback was one of his kids. The other girl in the Peter Pan play was his daughter.
Okay.
And then one of the boys at the baseball game was his son. So,
Nice.
a little fun thing on there. But
Yeah.
so Gwyneth Paltrow, who you know probably is Pepper Potts from the MCU, she's young Wendy. She's goddaughter of Steven Spielberg, just like Drew Barrymore. I checked; those are the only two, and this is only her second film role. So
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
Glenn Close also cameoed in this movie as a pirate on Captain Hook's crew. She bet against him, bringing Peter Pan back to Neverland.
That's right.
So they threw her into the boo box and covered with scorpions.
Yep.
So if you ever look at that pirate and you're wondering why that face seems really feminine, even though it has a beard on it, just because it's Glenn Close.
Okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the script and that kind of its journey that it had on here.
And it was quite the journey. I had no idea that it went through all this, but it seems like
It was kind of just in production limbo for a long time.
Yeah. I believe the script originated from an idea from Jim V. Hart. His 3-year-old drew a picture, 1982.
Yeah, I think it was just kind of got the idea of Captain Hook faking his death and still being alive after he got eaten by the crocodile.
He wanted to make this movie for the baby boomers.
Yeah, that was a big thing for him, was the baby boomers and making it for them. When I was reading about it, it just reminded me a lot of Toy Story 3 coming out when I was about to go to college.
Yeah.
Andy's whole arc was letting go of his childhood.
Yeah.
And it felt like it was a special moment of time for millennials in particular. And it feels like that's kind of what he wanted Hook to be.
Okay.
To help the baby boomers remember the magic and wonder of being a child again.
Okay. I can respect that. So Jim V. Hart was replaced, sadly, by Malia Scotch Marmo. Apologies if I'm butchering the name, because Captain Hook wasn't developed enough.
When we say replaced, we just mean that she came in to punch it up a bit. So he still got credit.
He still got credit.
He still got credit on the story, on the writing it. Spielberg, it sounds like there were two parts of this movie he wanted fixed up, and that was Captain Hook, which he brought in Malia Scotch Marmo, and then Tinkerbell,
which was Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have a credit.
I think you have to rewrite like a specific amount of it.
Is
for
that
it
how
to be
that
able
works?
To. I think so.
Okay. Because there's a lot of, as we've been going through these movies, there's a lot of people that have their hand in it, but they don't get the credit.
Yeah. I'm sure you have to have done a percentage of the script to be able to give a written credit.
Okay.
Next, we got to talk about production. Mainly, the big thing is going to be the journey that we took to making this movie. TriStar, who's a subsidiary of Columbia Pictures, developed the story with Nick Castle as a director. He directed The Last Starfighter. If you wonder why that name sounds familiar, he was the original Michael Myers. He wrote Escape from New York with John Carpenter as well. So he's been around kind of in the periphery. In 1989, Columbia was acquired by Sony Pictures. You said that Mike Medovy, who was Steven Spielberg's first agent in the 60s, had become the TriStar CEO.
Yeah.
And he's the one that made the choice for Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman. Like we said, this is one of the rare films that Spielberg wasn't involved from the beginning. So when he came in, there were some decisions already made, including principal casting. They decided after the merger or after the acquisition that they wanted a more recognizable name. So they kind of forced Nick Castle out. They gave him a story credit, so he's still credited for story in the movie, and a $500,000 payout.
Ooh.
For not continuing with Hook. He says the thing he hates about this is that he got forced out of this movie that he put all his work in and that he cared about. And then he saw Spielberg say this is one of the worst movies he's ever made and he hated making it because it really upsets him.
I imagine.
That something he loved was taken from him and given to somebody who ends up not liking it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it didn't feel like it was like him hating on Spielberg or anything. It's just, you spend so much time with something and if it's taken from you and given to somebody else and they don't appreciate it, of course you're going to be upset about it.
I would hope Steven, I really think Steven was talking about his own journey through it.
Yeah, I think it's just he had a lot of troubles with the production and trying to get it the way that he wants to. Because he does say that there's stuff he likes. Apparently, he doesn't like the Neverland stuff, which is really interesting because that's what a lot of people love about it.
That's like his kid.
But
that's
yeah,
his,
he did not like the Neverland aspects of it.
That's his bread and butter. He loves kids.
That's just like...
Okay.
Maybe that's why. I think for me, what I'm seeing is that this movie was too close to Spielberg. Have you ever worked on a project you really, really, really cared about or everybody told you was exactly the right fit for you?
Yeah.
It adds expectations, it adds added pressure, and you're usually not satisfied with the results because it never will live up to what was in your head. I think that's what this movie was for Spielberg.
Okay. Yeah. So Steven was obsessed with Peter Pan as a kid.
Mhm.
And I believe they were going to go see Peter Pan in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Does that sound
That was
right?
Pinocchio.
Was it Pinocchio?
I think it was Pinocchio, that one.
Peter Pan is in one of the other...
Well, they read it in E.T., right? Didn't we talk about
Yes,
that?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Mary reads it to Gertie in E.T., and obviously the kids learn to fly, so this movie is very Peter Pan coded.
So, of course, because he was obsessed with Peter Pan, he had a fear of growing old. He had desire for eternal youth, which you see in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and losing your way as an adult, which we all kind of fear that. It all resonated with him. And again, Spielberg wanted this to be a musical, just like he wanted 1941 to be a musical. I told B that today at the gym. 1941 was supposed to be a musical, and he looked at me like I had 3 heads. I'm like, yeah, that's why it didn't work out.
Like I was telling you, if this movie had come out in the mid or to late 90s, it would have been a musical. You have to think about it. This was the right at the beginning of the Disney Renaissance with The Little Mermaid.
Mhm.
This is right when they started getting really big again. And if they had seen the success, the musicals that are Disney movies, Lion King, Aladdin, this movie needs to be a musical. We need to bring in this crowd.
Yep. Well, apparently he did a dance number for this movie.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because, and I'll get in that later, but they had written lyrics and, all this stuff. They did the dance number and they're like, nah, this isn't a good fit for that.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I don't know if you'd have to rewrite it or, I don't know. To me, it felt like it had too much drama in it. Then again, Moulin Rouge had some dark themes and so did Hamilton.
Les Mis probably does with
Les
the whole prison
Mis,
things.
yeah, you're right. So, I don't know. I'm not a huge musical fan, but
I think the musicals would really fit the very vibrant world they created in Neverland.
That's true. They called this era when he was, dabbling in his fantasy films and such as the Peter Panning of Steven Spielberg, which I found fitting.
I think it's really interesting. Steven Spielberg was not comfortable with world building like George Lucas, which makes sense if you really think about it. His worlds are always the real life, but just with fantastical elements to them. I think that's called like low fantasy as opposed to high fantasy.
High fantasy is like Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So low fantasy is where magical or supernatural elements appear in an otherwise realistic world.
Oh, okay.
And then high fantasy is when it is a completely fictional, magical world. So Lord of the Rings versus Harry Potter. To put it in a way that makes sense with, Spielberg approaches his movies versus how George Lucas approached Star Wars. Obviously, Star Wars was its own whole world, its own science fiction world. Spielberg, every movie he does is always based in the real world, but there's some fantastical element added to it.
Yeah. I mean, I think I told you later, I feel like Steve and George are yin and yang as far as styles.
Yeah.
They complement each other.
No, I definitely think so, and they're probably able to help each other out by relying on each other's strengths, I would say. Dean Cundey is a cinematographer for this film, as well as Jurassic Park. He's famous for multiple collaborations with John Carpenter, including Halloween, The Thing, as well as the Back to the Future trilogy.
Wow.
So yeah, he's a big name in the cinematographer world.
Okay.
And this was his first collaboration, and I think he did it because he wanted a chance to work with Spielberg.
Okay, guys, you didn't see this, but when Tyler said Jurassic Park, his whole face just kind of. So hang on for that ride in our next episode. Just a little sneak peek. Something that I found interesting was the executive producer, Dodi Fayed, would be the future, I don't know, boyfriend's the right word, male friend, I don't know, for Princess Diana. She was seeing him when she died. Really interesting to see his name on executive producer. There's something else interesting. Stage 27 was where The Wizard of Oz was filmed. Neverland and the Jolly Roger, which was the ship, was actually filmed there. So it's one of the largest stages that they had.
Yeah, and that was a big thing. They did this on 9 sound stages, and it's the first Spielberg movie that was not shot on any location.
They did go to the park for the baseball game in the very beginning.
Okay.
Yes.
Artificially created, as they call it.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Spielberg had no vision for this film, just like in 1941. He actually called it like the cousin of 1941, just because of the way that the production went and how he felt about it. Gives you an idea of how he feels about the film himself.
He also covered his insecurities with huge, colorful production sets, which are beautiful. But he also kind of did that with 1941, if you remember. And if he doesn't have vision, I don't know, he just doesn't give 110% like he does when, I guess that's true of anybody, if it's not your vision.
The shoot was supposed to last just 76 days. It was completed in 116, so it went 40 days over, like we said, with a lot of the delays that were going on with Julia Roberts. Things were getting pushed out. And I don't think it was just her, but
No.
that's the most prevalent thing is that people were mentioning is just the fact that she was calling in so much, and Tinkerbell is a big part of this movie. Then having to shoot it in a way where she appears small.
Yeah.
We're not in the era of CGI at this point. And then on top of that, the film was only supposed to cost around $48 million, but it ended up being approximately 60 to $8 million. This movie was loaded over budget, over time, so maybe not on the level of like a Jaws, but still pretty difficult to get through. So talk to me about the music in this.
So the music, as I mentioned earlier, John Williams worked with Leslie Bricusse on Home Alone for the music. So that was interesting for song lyrics. And then they worked together to make Hook a musical, but obviously it didn't come to fruition. The song that Maggie sings, do you remember she was singing at Neverland? So that was called When You're Alone. It was a holdover from the musical songs that were supposed to be in the musical. And it was nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Song in 1991.
It was an oddly placed scene, but
yes, it was.
Very, very nice song.
It was a very nice song. As we said before, it was kind of extraneous because she really didn't have much to do with the plot. She was just kind of along for the ride.
It didn't really remind him of oh, right, my dad or anything.
No.
Yeah.
So the actor Bob Hoskins, who played Smee, would sing funny versions of Lionel Richie's Hello, changing the lyrics to Hello. Hello, is it Smee you're looking for? To relieve stress on the set. So I can just imagine him singing it. That would have been funny.
Yeah. And then just some miscellaneous stuff that we found out about this one. Not as much as usual, but they do reference the stage musical with clapping being used to bring Tinkerbell back to life. They would have the children clap during the play for her to come back to life, kind of like, Dora the Explorer having you spell things for her or whatever. Because I saw that and I said, that's not in the animated movie, and that is correct. Spielberg, Williams, and Hoffman didn't take salaries for this film. They split 40% of the gross profit. TriStar kept $70 million after whatever the budget was, and then they took 40% of everything after that.
Yeah.
And then one of those things that you're always wondered about, Skrillex, who made the song Bangarang, the EDM song from 2012, was inspired by Hook. And you know this because, first of all, they say Bangarang in that movie all the time.
Yes, too much.
And I think it's just like Jamaican slang. It's not related to anything.
I don't know.
But yeah, so they say Bangarang, and I looked it up, and the first line of Bangarang by Skrillex is shout out to all my Lost Boys. So,
and we were just losing it.
Yeah. So if you want a little fun fact for you on that one, there you go. So now we're going to go ahead and transition over to Sandcastles in the Sand, where we talk about the money and the milestones. So first up, we're going to talk box office numbers. Hook's budget was around $70 million, and it made $300 million. So it made about a little over 4 times its budget. Mm-hmm. So definitely profitable. It was 4th in the box office for 1991. So domestic box office numbers for December of 1991 was Hook, which came on December 11th, made gross $64 million domestically. Total gross was $119 domestically. Number 2 was Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, like I referred to before, which came out the week before, made $52 million. Third is Beauty and the Beast. So like I said, right in that middle of that Disney Renaissance. Came out November 15th, doing that Thanksgiving movie, I'm sure. But that one was $49 million. The Addams Family, number 4, came out November 22nd. And then My Girl, which came out November 27th to round out the top 5. So not sure what My Girl is about.
My Girl was Macaulay Culkin and Anna Paquin when she was little.
Okay.
It was about death. It was in Dan Aykroyd date. He had a mortuary for a funeral home.
And the highest grossing films for 1991 in general was T2, number 1, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, number 2, Beauty and the Beast, number 3, just edging out Hook, which was at number 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there we go. That is the budget for Hook. We'll hop on over to the awards. So this one was nominated for 5 awards. We already talked about Best Original Song for When You're Alone, Best Art Direction, Best Makeup, Best Costume Design, and Best Visual Effects. I think Art Direction is production. I hope so, because it definitely deserved a nomination for that. Costume Design, definitely. Makeup, definitely. Visual Effects, for sure. All makes sense as far as nominations, but unfortunately didn't win any.
You know what did win for original song?
What's that?
Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
You can't go against a Disney song.
No.
That's not going to happen. But yeah, so those are the awards. So this movie does have the distinction of being the first Spielberg movie to be nominated for a Razzie. So if you're not familiar with the Razzies, or awards given out to the worst of the worst, Julia Roberts was given one she was nominated for Tinkerbell. It doesn't appear that she won, which feels kind of mean-spirited when we see about all the personal life issues that she was having at that time. Go ahead and tell us about the reviews of this movie.
Okay, so sad news. Pauline Kael did not officially review this movie for The New Yorker. She retired, so we're not going to be able to. I know. I was sad about that. She was quoted as saying it was just awful. So that was her parting gift. Yeah, that was her parting gift. So
as she walked out the door of the office, she just said,
awful.
I know you didn't ask, but Hook is just awful. Or maybe she sent an email to Spielberg. It just says subject Hook, and then the body, it just says just awful.
Miss you.
I didn't realize you were directing a sequel to 1941.
Oh.
Boom. Got him. Roasted.
Yep. So I always like to see what Roger Ebert says. Poignancy. This is quoted. Lessons to be learned, speeches to be made, lost marbles to be rediscovered, tears to be shed. The conclusion of Hook would be embarrassingly excessive, even for a movie in which something of substance had gone before. I'm thinking that's not a good review.
He had me in the first half, but yeah, it doesn't
it's...
I don't know.
Those are big words, just say that.
I mean, it seems like he likes it in the beginning.
Yeah.
He says the conclusion laid it on too thick.
Yeah. I don't know.
But then he says, even for a movie in which something of substance had gone before, implying this movie did not have substance beforehand. So I think this is like a satire of what...
Maybe.
He's reviewing it like what he thought Spielberg wanted it to be. I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't sound positive.
No.
At least from our interpretation. Obviously, it could be Annie's interpretation.
Of course.
But man, remember back when we had nuance when it came to reviews? And,
yeah, right?
and trying to have literacy when you're trying to learn something.
Just awful.
Now it'd just be big thumbnail and it'd just say, yeah, just awful.
Oh, wow.
Or it'd say hook, line, and stinker.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right. So, Rotten Tomatoes, of course, 37% on the tomato meter. I think that's the lowest we've seen so far.
I think so, since we started doing this.
Yeah. And then 76% on the popcorn meter. That's probably your millennial
all the millennials,
peers.
for sure. The only people actively using Rotten Tomatoes.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So it's time for your review.
Yeah, it's time for my review. Okay, so I'm giving this one 3 stars, same as always. And my review is, the thud ball will now be my new sleep paralysis demon. Because I forgot to mention that, where he folded his legs.
Oh my God, that was
to
awful.
Roll, to take out the pirates.
Ugh.
That is good at, man.
I'm sure they were fake, but oh my God, it was awful.
They were obviously fake too, and I still hated it. We were flabbergasted that his canonical name is Thudbutt.
Yes, why. Yeah, that's true. You know what? I bet you have Neverland names, right?
Yeah.
His name is probably like Clarence or something.
Clarence. Yeah, when you come through, you get to take the name that you want.
Yes, Thudbutt. Yeah, there you go.
go ahead and do the rankings for our 13 movies we're up to.
Okay. Still at number 1 is Indiana Jones Last Crusade. Number 2 is E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Number 3 is Indiana Jones Little Raiders Lost Ark. Number 4 is Jaws. Number 5 is Color Purple. Number 6 is Duel. See, nothing can knock it down. I don't know. Number 7 is Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. Number 8 is Always. Number 9 is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Number 10, The Sugarland Express. Number 11, Hook. Number 12, Empire of the Sun. Number 13,
Still
1941.
holding
I
strong.
mean, it was hard. It really was. I really struggled. I liked the idea of it.
Mhm.
Like I said before, I didn't really care for it, so
Yeah,
it shouldn't be a surprise that it's way down there. But it still beat 1941. Just want to tell you that.
true accomplishment.
Yeah. So what about you?
Okay, so for me, number 1, Jaws. 2, Last Crusade. 3 is Raiders. 4 is E.T. 5 is Color Purple. 6 is Duel. Number 7 is Temple of Doom. 8, Close Encounters. 9, Sugarland Express. 10, I put Hook, so 1 higher than you, but that's just because I didn't like Always as much as you. So.
Oh, okay.
Then 11, Always. 12, Empire Sun. 13, 1941. Hook is a strong 3-star. I will say that. As much as I enjoyed Hook and the production and everything, as a cohesive movie, it just was such a negative. Sugarland as a movie, it just came together so well for me, and Hook didn't, and I think that's where it made the difference, and that's why because I really was trying to debate which way to put those two. I feel like by the end of this, 1941 will still be the bottom. Duel will still be Duel will be in the middle, and those will be our benchmarks.
Yeah, right? Duel, 1941.
Especially, I mean, we're going into the serious era of Spielberg. We're very close to that. So.
Not yet.
Not yet, but we're very, very close to it. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this episode on Hook. Don't forget to go ahead and give us a 5-star review on your podcast player of choice. If you're on YouTube, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. We will read out your 5-star reviews on the air so you can get a little bit of recognition. Like we always say, please make sure to tell your friends, your family, everybody that you can about us.
Yeah.
Love this journey we're taking. We hope you are too. So we want to get more people on there. They need to get here now because next episode is Jurassic Park. So that's going to be probably a mega long episode. I apologize, but I'm already doing the research on it, and I've already got pages and pages of notes.
Yeah, he never does the research this early. It's usually the day of.
Hey, I'm probably going to reread the book too. So you want to try to hop on before you get onto that journey, whatever it's going to look like. I hear that we have the real Mr. DNA coming in for this one. So I know. I'm sorry, guys. It was a voice all along.
Nuh-uh.
Originally, yeah.
No.
So, but we got the real guy coming in, so I hope you're ready for that. So thank you again for joining us on this episode of this very interesting movie, this mixed experience that we had.
Yeah.
For Hook, please let us know what you think about it. Like I said, we're having our own opinions on these films. Mm-hmm. Our rankings are our own. So if it's something that you love, something you grew up with, we're never going to come after you about that. But I will leave you with my final words, which are, through amazing stories and unforgettable characters, we are introduced to those incredible worlds we only dare imagine. And in the process, we discover ourselves. This is Tyler signing off.
And this is Crystal. Don't forget to notice the purple.